Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode here on Dangerous African Confessions HD. In this episode, we have the continuation of the story from our brother, who was sharing with us his life story, and how he was tricked into sacrificing his own mother for money rituals. In this second episode of the story, he tells us what happened after he had gone to this temple with his friend all in an attempt to find money. He tells us this story so that our young guys out there will be mindful of the life that they engage themselves in. In this confession, our brother tells us about his encounter with his friend and his group of people who calls themselves the Children of the Light, and their activities that they do in their place of meeting. He reveals to us how he managed to make money after he has been tricked into thinking that what he was doing was a mere initiation into the fraternity that will bring him wealth at the end of the day. He tells us of his regrets of his encounter with them and how he finally got his money but lost the most important part of his very existence, which happens to be his mother. He again reveals to us about his state of mind, and how he can't even sleep at night, due to the constant torment of his mother's spirit. He said that he wanted to share his life experience with you, our lovely followers, so that if anyone among us wants to be in such groups and acts, he should have a second thought. Because he said, all is not rosy as we might think. Without taking much of your time, let us go and listen to her story. Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload.
So I also do has that feel of going to make it in a decent way. And so, we went inside this temple. When we entered, I saw that inside the temple was decorated with some drawings that were mostly abstract to me, mostly colored in black. The people that were present were all dressed in black robes, from top to down. I was ushered into the inner chambers of the temple, where I was greeted by one young man who was all dressed in black with a red belt in the middle. I saw that everyone in this inner temple had a red belt in it, and there were different colors and sizes of candles inside there. I was asked to sit down in the same way each and every one of them were sitting. They were sitting down on the floor with their legs crossed, just like the way the Hindus do sit. There were some incantations and mantras that were read repeatedly for some time. After about 10 to 15 minutes into the incantations, an old man walked in and he was dressed all red with black belt in the middle. He called my name and asked me to sit in the middle. My friend too was asked to come. He was asked several questions before they proceeded to the next thing. I remember the last question that was asked was if he can vow for me that I would never speak about them in the open and discuss anything except with their people. He said he knew the kind of person I am and can vow for me. After everything was settled, I was taken into a small room and asked to be baptized in that room. In this room was a small pool of water. I was ushered into the water and was dipped into it for 3 times. After what I was told was baptism, I was again led back into the mix of the people who were that inner temple. This time I was asked to lie down on my back whilst I was facing up. Then I was asked to stretch my arms and legs wide, which I did. After that, 4 candles were placed around me. 2 at where my 2 hands were reaching, and then the other 2 at where my legs were also reaching. Some marks were drawn on my bare stomach. And then, the old man, who was the only one wearing a full red robe, started speaking in a language that I did not understand. After a while of speaking in that language, I was given something to drink. After that drink, I was asked to get up and I was handed a black robe to wear. Each and every one of them welcomed me after I wore the black robe. We spent some time interacting with one another. I got to know even some young guys who were even much wealthier than my friend. They all in a very happy mood welcomed me. One statement that was spoken almost by everyone that greeted me was that, right now you are part of the great men who command power and wealth. I was a bit confused, because I was still the same person as I returned. Apart from the fact that I felt weird about the drink that I took. I could still tell I was feeling the effect of the drink. I felt like someone who was recovering from being drunk. I asked my friend what was wrong with me and what really happened. He laughed and told me not to worry, because everything will make sense to me sooner than later. You see, from the way they were all congratulating me, it seemed as though I did something. But I could not recall exactly what I did. It was as if that very memory had been erased from my brain. I took solace in the fact that the friend that I knew would never allow anything bad to happen to me. So we left the place and we did set back to the city. On our way back, he looked at me for several times without saying anything. So I asked him why he was looking at me like that. He told me that he was just happy for me for the kind of life that is ahead of me. We talked mostly about how he was going to guide me through my transition from what I am into eventually becoming a successful person. So finally, we got back home and he asked me not to go and continue working in his company again. I told him I can be working until I will start seeing the signs of whatever there is for me. But then, he didn't agree to the fact that I was going to go back to the company again. To him, he said that would be a disrespect to me for allowing me to go back there, knowing the kind of success that is awaiting me. He promised me he would provide whatever I need till I stand on my own feet. So, just like that, I did quit working at his company. One thing I forgot to tell you is that, whilst in the temple, the leader after everything wrote me a check and asked my friend to help me withdraw that money and start business with it. He told me that, once I start the business, everything will take effect and what needs to be done will be done without my worry. Those were the exact words he used. I still remember them very well, when I still think about everything. So, that week when we came, we went to the bank and my friend helped me into withdrawing and depositing it into an account that he helped me to open. Now, he advised me to start a business. And for me, the business that I was so much in love with was a bread business. He didn't say no to me. And just like that, we rented a shop and bought the necessary things needed for the business to start. So I first got 3 people to start work in the shop and then we started going around looking for people who would distribute or sell our products. That is how my business started. So, when everything was done and things began to move on just as I had imagined, I got a phone call from back home that my mother was seriously ill. I went to my hometown. But unfortunately for me, she died before I even got to my hometown. I received a phone call on my way about his death. How can this be possible? The main reason why Kay had suffered to put a smile on her face. I couldn't believe what was happening to me. I called my friend and told him about the death of my mother. He told me that, when I return, there is something that he would want to talk to me about. So, after the 1-week celebration, I went back and tried to find out what was it that he wanted to talk to me about. He told me that everything in this world has a price. And when I tried to find out a lot more of what he meant by that, he said he wouldn't want to say anything again. All he wanted to tell was just that. But if you look at him, you could clearly see that there was something that he was holding back on. But then, since he insisted there was nothing that he was hiding, I decided to let go and concentrated on my business and the plans for my mother's funeral. The funeral day came and all the members of the temple that I visited came with their expensive cars. It was as if my mother was a mother of some billionaire. They sprayed money at the funeral grounds like something. So, after the funeral, I returned to the city and then decided to move to my own place so that I can allow my siblings to move in with me. I did exactly that. But then, when I visited them in order to take them to the city, they told me they were not interested in living with someone as heartless as me. I didn't understand any of the things they were telling me. I tried to make them understand that I went out there for their sake and our mother. And if she is no more, I cannot watch them live their lives there. That was when my younger brother angrily told me to take my filthy money. For they do not want to be a part of my blood money. I asked them what they meant by what they were telling me. My brother continued that they know that I had killed our mother in order to make the money I have made. What he was saying didn't seem right to me, so just as I was about saying something, my sister told me that they know the source of my wealth. And I had killed our mother for my money. I asked her to tell me why they were hurting me with their words. She then told me that they had visited a church and the pastor told them everything. My sister went ahead to tell me that they know that I went to the northern part of the country to do that ritual. At that moment when she said that, it did hit me like I had been stricken with a cold punch. I couldn't say anything again. It was true I had gone to the north, but to say I had killed my mother was some too serious of allegation. So, just as I tried to let them understand my point, the two of them walked out on me. I was alone in the house not knowing what to do. So when I returned back to the city, I rushed back to my friend and demanded he tell me everything that he knows. That was when he told me that indeed I had offered my mother for the money that I was going to enjoy in my life. I looked at him shocked. I couldn't believe what he was telling me. He told me that it was after I took the drink that the man gave me and had undergone all the necessary procedures. They asked me to write down one person that I wanted to nominate for the ritual. For whatever reason, I wrote the name of my mother. He told me that he wished he could have alerted me, but even if he did, there was nothing that I was going to understand from his side. I told him I do not remember anything like that. That was when he told me that, yes, the drink that I took after it working in my system, nothing that one would do within that period that it is in your system, you will never remember. He said that he has tried to tell me, but didn't know how I was going to take it. That is why he kept quiet about it all this time. So, I had really sacrificed the person that gave me life, so that I can have money. That was how I came to the realization of being responsible for the death of my mother. You see, brother, one thing is that, even when I tried several times to commit suicide, I would see the face of my mother, with this voice at the back of my head telling me that there is no way that I was going to die. It was like she wanted me to live with the pain and guilt of knowing that I killed her for money. This pain and guilt is too much for me to carry. Please, I have money, but I am the very person who is not happy in this world. The two siblings that I have too do not want to see me in their lives. Brother, I am telling you this my story so that my people out there will learn from my mistakes. Don't trust people like that. Not even your very self. The very trust one had in my friend took me to this place, and now I am living with this burden and guilt of knowing I am the killer of my own mother. Please, my people, love life and do not treat life like it's nothing compared to money. I will leave you here. Thank you.
Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload. Like I always say, these are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. After listening to this story, I will say that life indeed is something that no one can predict. And you can't even seem to understand what life is all about. I honestly wish the youth of these days will listen to advice. Money is important in human life, but money is not everything. I honestly think that this generation are making the love of having money leading them to make some decisions that always goes against them in the very life that they are living. I always say that when you are desperate and you are not content with the little that you have, you are easy for the enemy to disguise as a helper, and then leads you to where you have nothing left to do again. Because the fact that you wish to have such things, any deal that will brought to you, your mind might not reason as it should. Because it has already been clouded with the beauty of having such life. I pray that we learn from some of these stories and live a better life. If not for anything at all, it pays to live a decent and better life. Stay blessed and be safe. Thanks for being a part of this growing family. Kindly share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share.